I just, I just, I just speak my peace, keep my peace.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak My Peace podcast. As always, I'm your gracious host, Greg Lacey. Like we always do about this time, I hope this episode reaches you all in good health, good wealth, and that you're all taking care of yourself and your loved ones. I hope I didn't scare any of y'all last week with no episode release. I know that I'm good for taking breaks. I know I'm like, oh, he taking another break. It's going to be a while before we hear another episode. Not yet. That break is coming soon, but not yet. I took a break last week just because, for one, it was a holiday week. Me personally, I don't consume a lot of media during those long 3 or 4 day weekends. So I was like, okay, if I miss this week, I don't think they'd be tripping too much. Some of y'all might have taken a long road trip, so y'all probably looking forward to an episode. So I do apologize for that. But I was also traveling last week too, which is why I didn't release the episode. As you can see from my shirt. First of all, shout out to the bootleggers. I know we shun bootleggers. I know that probably shouldn't be shouting them out. But I grew up on bootlegs, whether it's DVD, VHS, LimeWire, wherever the case may be. Bootleggers have guided me through a lot of my life, especially growing up as somebody who didn't have a lot of money growing up. Bootleggers then helped me out a lot during my growth. And I say shout out to bootleggers. This is a bootleg shirt, and I'm the type of person to where if I go to a concert, I will literally have money set aside for the bootleggers after the concert is over. I don't spend money in the venue. I try not to spend money in the venue, whether that's on alcohol or whether that's on merch, because I'm frugal. I don't want to be wasting money. I'm not about to spend $50, $60 on a shirt. I'm not going to spend $20 for a drink. I'm going to save. I'm going to pull out $20 and I'm going to give that $20 to the people that's outside bootlegging t-shirts. And that's where this bootleg t-shirt is from. Not to go on a long rant, but this bootleg t-shirt is from the Grand National Tour, which is why I was traveling last week. I went back home. I flew back home to LA to catch night one of the Grand National Tour, obviously being headlined by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. I just felt like it was something I could not miss. And the reason why I could not miss it is because I missed the pop-out. Now, if you all remember, the pop-out happened last year, was Kendrick Lamar and friends on Juneteenth, big Juneteenth event. And I really want to go. Like, I feel like what better place for me to be than in that space, which was going to be which was going to be celebrating Black music, which was going to be packed with Black people, beautiful Black and brown people. And it was just a time for us to just come together, especially considering it's the huge year Kendrick Lamar had. So I initially went to buy tickets for the pop-out. Didn't end up getting tickets. Ended up watching it at home on Amazon or YouTube like most of us did. And the one thing that pissed me off watching that pop-up was it was a sea full of white tea people. And when I saw that, I said, yeah, never again. That pissed me off, seeing the crowd, and also just seeing the crowd just not reacting the way they should have reacted. Like, there were certain cues and certain songs to where he, went to the crowd. Obviously, some rappers do that to catch their breath. A lot of rappers do that just to get the crowd interaction. There were certain points in certain songs where he went to the crowd and they did not respond in the way they should have responded. And that was another reason why I said, yeah, never again. Like, I got to be in that crowd because I know all these damn songs. I know his whole catalog like the back of my hand, and I got to be in that space. But anyways, so that happened. Seeing all those people in there made me realize that, like, we are in a day and age to where people just want to be places just to be places. And shout out to them. Like, I sound like a hater, and I am a hater. I won't own that. I am a hater that certain people got tickets that I feel like shouldn't have been there. But at the end of the day, they got tickets. And the reason why I'm speaking about this is because we're in a day and age now to where people are just want to be in spaces because it's the popular thing to do, to be, or to do, not because they genuinely care for said artist or care for said event or care for said cause. Just like, oh, there's going to be a bunch of people here, so let me be there. I don't want to have any FOMO for not being there. Not that I actually care about the artist, not that I'm a big fan of the artist. It's literally like, just don't let me not be there because I got to get these flicks off for Instagram or get these videos off for TikTok or whatever the case may be. Anyways, back to my spew. I didn't get tickets for the pop out, and I realized that I didn't get tickets because there were people who, one, was on it before I was on it, And the people who were getting those tickets, a large portion of them was people that was looking to capitalize on resale, which shout out to them. I can't knock people hustle. And people who just wanted to be there for the sake of being there. And so when I saw that, I said, yeah, never again. So when these tickets went on sale, I made sure to get tickets. I got a couple tickets. Obviously, I just moved recently, which I spoke about in a couple episodes ago. So I got these tickets before I moved. And I was going to sell them, but eventually I didn't end up selling them because, like, well, for one, this is a stadium show, and it's the first night back home. I gotta be there just for the sake of just the huge Kendrick Lamar fan that I am. That's just something that I have to witness. Seeing somebody transcend from literally this unknown artist to uh uh um a starting out artist or unknown artist to a starving artist to now a signed artist to a star, and now he's transcending to a super or mega star. Like, I gotta be able to like be in that space to witness that because a stadium is a big deal. Like, I know a lot of people are not speaking about it a lot, but like, not everybody can do a stadium. There's only certain acts, especially in today's day and age, that can do a stadium. I know The Weeknd constantly doing stadiums. We see the Taylor Swifts, we see the Bad Bunnies, but as far as rappers, as far as black people in general, we don't see a lot of us selling out stadiums the way that he's selling out stadiums. So the fact that he's on a stadium tour all across the world and he had a show back home, I had to go. And then also pair that with the fact that it was my younger sister's birthday coming up, was actually yesterday from the day I released this episode. But that was also, I was like, okay, well, I have a couple tickets, so now I can use this as a birthday gift for her. And I can also fly back home during holiday week and spend time with my family. So it just worked out well. But yeah, because of like what happened at the pop out pause, it put a bad taste in my mouth. And I say, yeah, I'm never gonna let that happen again. I'm gonna make sure that I get there. I'm gonna speak about just the concert in itself in a little bit, but just the journey in the sense of speaking of like Kendrick Lamar's transcendence. Like, I've been a fan of Kendrick Lamar since 2007. I've literally been a fan of him long enough to see him transitions from K Dot to Kendrick Lamar. Like, I saw it live to where I would listen to this like rapper, hard spitter, pause if needed, named K Dot, and then I think it was like late 2008, early 2009. I don't remember the time frame. It was either I think it was late 2008. No. It was, damn, I really don't remember. It may have been late 2009 actually. Transition from this hard spitter to this conscious rapper named Kendrick Lamar. Like, I vividly remember listening to that first EP, Kendrick Lamar EP, and like, damn, this is not the rapper who I was introduced to a year or a year and a half ago. So I saw that happen. And now I saw him going from like this rapper who was like trying to make these like club singles to now this conscious rapper who's now been respected for the things that he's rapping it about. And then a year from that, after he makes the name change, I go to my first Kendrick Lamar concert, which was at a small intimate venue, so small that like I was front row in the concert. I went with a couple of my friends, and like we were literally like right there in front of the stage. So I seen him in a small venue that year. I go away from boot camp. And the time that I go away from boot camp, which was like a year, because that concert happened my senior year. That might have been the Overly Dedicated tour. I don't remember the exact name of the tour, but I think it was Overly Dedicated because Section 80 wasn't out yet. So that happened my senior year. After my senior year, I'm home for a couple of months, and I go away from boot camp. Obviously, in between that time, after my senior year, in between boot camp, Section 80 releases, and then while I'm away from boot camp, he gets signed to Aftermath from Dr. Dre. So now he's going from like this, I've seen him go from this unknown artist to the starving artist to this like, all right, this freshly signed artist to a big label, and people are starting to notice him. So this is 2012. He gets signed to Dr. Dre, and then some months after that, we get Good Kid, Mad City. Or not even a month after that. A year after that, because Good Kid, Mad City came out 2013. So yeah, a year after that, we get Good Kid, Mad City. So I seen him perform at a small intimate venue around 2010, 2011. Actually, it was 2000. Damn, I'm getting so old that I'm like forgetting when things happen, and I hate that. And I'm not actually old, but it's just the fact that I'm experiencing so much life that I'm like forgetting certain time frame. But I think that I went to that concert in 2011 because I know for sure it was my senior year. Yeah, it had to be 2011 because Section 80 wasn't out yet. Overly Dedicated came out 2010. So it had to be 2011 because he went on tour right after Overly Dedicated came out. And I may be wrong. But anyway, saw him at the small venue. Then, go on, he still worked and released another mixtape, something that was almost like critically acclaimed. We're talking about Section 80. And then he gets signed to a major label. And then he goes on tour for his debut album. And then I seen him again. He was opening up for Kanye West on that on the Yeezus tour. So that was the last time I seen him was a small intimate venue. Now he's opening up for one of the biggest artists in the world. And I seen him in Oakland. At this time I was stationed at my first base. So I seen him in Oakland in the arena, but he was opening for Kanye West. The next time after that, I seen him in up in the Bay too. I forget what the venue was called, but it was Rock the Bells festival. And the whole TDE, they closed out night 1 or night 2. I forget what it was, but I seen him again then. And then after I seen him from there, I want to say I seen him one more time. There was a point in time between 2013 and 2014 that I stopped going to concerts because I was seeing Kendrick Lamar so much that I was seeing the same set. And so I was like, all right, like, I'm just going to stop going because I can't, like, I've seen it. I seen him open. I seen him do his own thing. And now I've seen him, in the festival. And I'm seeing it, hearing the same songs over and over. Granted, I like listening and seeing Kendrick Lamar perform. Pause. That's definitely pause. But I'm not going to continue to see the same thing over and over. Not that I'm wasting my money, but just like you can only see something so many times within a span of 6 months. So from 2013 to 2014, I don't see him. And then 2015, we get, which is what my favorite project from Kendrick Lamar, which is To Pimp a Butterfly. And the To Pimp a Butterfly tour, I don't even think it was an actual tour. I remember him doing just like very small venues, but it was like a span of like a month. He was going to like very small venues last minute. And I don't remember him coming up north, Northern California. So I missed that. And then after that, we get the Damn tour. And so I've literally seen Kendrick Lamar every time he went on tour, other than, I'm not going to count To Pimp a Butterfly, but I didn't see him doing the Mr. Morale and Big Steppers. But I seen him doing a Damn tour. This was back home too. It wasn't in LA, but it was in Anaheim. I seen him at the Pond in Anaheim. And then a year later, the TDE went on that TDE Championship tour, and I seen him in Madison Square Garden. So I've literally seen him in some of the biggest venues, seen him in some of the smallest venues. And so to see that growth from me spending probably $20 on a concert ticket to see him live to now I'm getting into the hundreds, and now I'm seeing him in festivals, and now I'm seeing him in world-renowned arenas like Madison Square Garden. It's like the ascension of seeing an artist go from start to here, and now we're like at a stadium. It's something that like, I don't know, it's a feeling that you really can't explain. Because you've seen this artist grow from where they started at, not started from day one, but at least like day 2 or day 3. So like now we're selling out stadiums. Like, what the hell is going on? And this is all in the span of 15 years that I've seen all these things happen. So like, I couldn't miss this show. And the show didn't disappoint. Like, again, from all this time that I've seen him, he's always had great stage presence. He's always been in shape in terms of just like breath control and things like that, and not sounding out of breath and whatever the case may be. He's always had great interaction with the crowds. His set list has always, to me personally, have always been good in terms of just like merging, what the fans want to hear versus what's doing well commercially, versus what he may want to perform. Seeing all of that, seeing the graphics now on a stadium tour to where he has his big screen behind him, and being very, very, what is the word I'm looking for? Damn, I don't know why I can think of a word, but just paying close attention to like how the things are interacting with the songs that are playing. Like I remember at one point to where he was playing um um Bad City. He was saying this is Paula's oldest son. And then while he was saying this is Paula's oldest son, there's like homemade videos from when he was a child playing during the entire time doing the performance. Then when he gets to his Paula's oldest son, there's a video that pans directly to his mama. And it's like a cameo of just directly of his mama from one of them old homemade videos. Like things like that make a lot of sense. During Not Like Us, like the visuals behind him during Not Like Us being very pro-black and, paying homage to, a lot of pro-black things, whether it's accessories that women wear, whether it's attire that men wear, whether it's certain graphics, whether it's certain colors, like the the attention to detail that they paid and how those things correlated to the songs and the lyrics, what was great. The pyrotechnics, like seeing him, this is not my first time seeing him with like pyrotechnics, but just understanding, just like during Euphoria, bump, 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 and flames going off during the end is very important. Even with the what was the other song that I felt like they did very well with the pyrotechnics like that, Nika Bump doing like that and pyrotechnics going off, that was also important. I felt like, me personally, going into the show, my favorite Kendrick Lamar show that I've been to was Damn. Like, I feel like up to this point, and still to this point, and still to this day, I don't think that there's been a better live show that I've attended that was better than Damn. It's in terms of the stage setup, his performance, in terms of the graphics, in terms of the pyrotechnics and things like that. I don't think there's been anything better than Damn. I didn't go to the Missing Around the Big Steppers tour, but I have seen the video that's on Amazon Prime when he was in Paris. And I don't know if all the United States shows are like that, but the Paris show was definitely great. But this show was something that was rivaling the Damn tour, and the fact that it was in a stadium setting. And so now the crowd interaction is amplified, maybe like times two. If an arena is doing 30, 50,000, a stadium is probably doing 70, 80,000. So to now see the amplified times two was something that was definitely, great. And I don't want to spend all this time on Kendrick Lamar. Shout out to SZA too, because I'm also a huge fan of SZA. But the reason why I'm speaking of Kendrick Lamar is because it's like to see his ascension from where he's grown from where I first met him as a fan in 2007 to where I see him now as a fan in 2025. I couldn't have predicted that. And I felt like that was very important. The one knock I will say, and I will say it's probably because it's such a big show, is that like, while he put a lot in his previous shows in the hands of the fans in terms of just like the interaction, I didn't get that much this show. Like, there were certain lyrics that you could tell that he didn't rap so that he could catch his breath and he let fans rap, but we didn't get a lot of that. And the reason why I bring this up is because I say the Damn tour was the best tour I've been on, and you can Google it if you don't believe me. During the Damn tour in Anaheim, there was a part during Humble to where the entire crowd rapped the entire song of Humble. And I was looking for that experience again in this show, and it didn't happen. He played Humble maybe 5 times during the Damn tour in Anaheim show. So the first time he played it, he raps the whole song. The energy was live. He goes back and he does the song again. The second time he does the song, he raps the first verse. The crowd does the second verse. The third time he does the song, he raps the intro. The crowd does the first verse. He intros the second verse. The crowd raps the second verse. The fourth time, I think we rapped the entire song together. I think that he introed the song and we took over the whole song together. And the fifth time is when he finally performed it again, with the crowd interaction as well as himself. And that was something that I've been through, maybe at this point, I'd have been to 50 concerts and seen 100 live shows, over counting artists I've seen at festivals or small venues, whatever the case may be. I've seen a lot of performances of many different genres. And that was something that I've never seen before. For him to rap the first verse, fans rap the second verse, for him to let the fans rap the first verse, he rap the second verse, he let the fans rap the whole song, and then he come back and, like, I've never seen anything like that before. And that's the reason why that's the best show I've ever been to of Kendrick Lamar's, is because, like, when I seen that happen, it's being in an arena and everybody literally been that tapped in to rap that song. I'm like, oh yeah, this man, he's transcending what I thought he was with this album. And we know that, Damn is his most commercially successful album to this point. I think there's a lot of fan favorites outside of Good Kid, Mad City too. So that was no surprise to me. But the reason why I felt like this was important to highlight these things, to where, him going from where he started at to his transcendence is down, is because the reason why I didn't release the episode last week is because I want to focus on something that I touched on in the previous episode, which was just the job market. And y'all probably wondering, like, well, how the hell is Kendrick Lamar ties into the job market? It's so beautiful, whether you don't know them or you do know them, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, to see people's dreams realized. And that is the reason why this moment is so special for me. Is like I've seen this artist go from this unknown artist to this well-known artist. Probably at this point, one of the most known artists on this date right now in 2025. Not even just in his genre, but it's in general. I think that the entire world knows who Kendrick Lamar is. And I liken that back into just like life in itself. The job market is, I said in the last episode, it's terrible. And there are a lot of people, we are in graduation season. It's the summer. A lot of people are graduating from high school. A lot of people are graduating from college. A lot of people are getting their master's. A lot of people getting their bachelor's. A lot of people getting their associates, wherever the case may be. We are in graduation season, and a lot of people are hitting this market, and it's difficult. I spoke briefly about just what I've been through, and that just made me feel more for everybody else, because I'm thinking of myself like, okay, I've been very successful in my career, and it's been hard as hell for me to land a job that I want. I can only imagine what it is for people who don't have any experience. I do want to take this time out to say that, especially for my people, I've said it before, but we got to emphasize telling our youth to network. Because that is, as we move forward, that is what's going to get their foot in these doors. For me, if you know me personally, you know that I'm not the most social person. And so networking is difficult because I choose not to communicate with people I don't know. I choose not to be transparent with people I don't know. I choose not to just lend. This goes back into what we were speaking about last episode as well, in terms of just like my attachment style. I choose not to attach to people because I don't want to lend that much of myself to somebody to where they can disappoint me or let me down. And now I'm affected in a certain way. So I try to avoid those things where I'm making myself vulnerable to people that I don't know. However, I've been lucky to get to where I'm at, and not lucky in the sense of like, oh, I shouldn't be in this position, or I shouldn't have been afforded things I've been afforded, because I should afford them, because I'm a damn hard worker. And if I'm interested in something, I want to work my butt off to get what I need out of that situation. However, I say I'm lucky because if I didn't get that recommendation from my previous partner, if she would have never said, hey, I'm not interested in this job, but if you have any, entry-level openings, I do have somebody who may be interested. If she would have never gave me that foot in the door, I probably would not have had the career that I have had, just to be completely honest. Because, like I said, I'm a hard worker, so if I'm interested in something, I'm going to get in and I'm going to show out. So my career is all due to me, in the sense of the transgressions I've had and the ascensions I've had in terms of promotion after promotion. But my foot in the door, I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. I had to have somebody who gave me that recommendation so that I can get my foot in the door and then show what I'm worthy of. Because before I even got hired in the position at the company I was at, I had gotten to a point, and I detailed this previously, that like I had spent 6 months applying for jobs and it wasn't getting no interviews. That was my first interview 6 months into my job search after I received my bachelor's degree. And it was her that got me that interview. And so it was up to the point to then where it was like 6 months of getting no callbacks, getting no interviews. I was starting to get depressed. It was like, damn, like, what's going on? I had gotten so depressed that I was like, okay, well, this is obviously not going to work out. I'm running through my savings. Let me go get a job. I had got a job at Target. I worked at Target for a shift. I got a job at Target, went in for a shift. Mind you, this is my very first shift. I went in, worked 4 hours, went on my lunch break. And during my lunch break, I told myself, this is not for me. Like, this is just, I can't do this. Not saying that I'm above people that work at Target. Shout out to y'all that work at Target. Shout out to y'all that work part-time jobs. Shout out to y'all that just work in retail in general. Shout out to y'all. But for me, I knew that like this is just not for me. So I went on my lunch break. Remember texting my girlfriend at the time, like, yeah, I'm not. After this, I'm not coming back. Like I'm gonna finish the shift out, but this is just not for me. I'm gonna have to just figure something else out because I can't do this. And so I literally went to, I don't remember, I can't remember if I left after my lunch break or I finished out. I think I might have left after my lunch break, to be completely honest. I don't even know if I was finished that shift. But I remember texting her that and say, yeah, this is not for me, and got up out of there and never went back again. I was scheduled to come in the next day, told them I wasn't coming, and that was that. Funny enough, after I told them I wasn't coming in later that day, I had got the interview for the company I ended up getting. I had got the email that I was being moved along to the next interview for the company that I ended up working for. And with me myself, I know I know that I speak very well. I know there are certain times on this podcast where I'll be like searching for words and be forgetting things because I got like a million things on my mind. And y'all can probably also tell I speak very fast. So there's like a million things going on in my mind at one time. Um, but I know that I am a good orator. And I know that I'm a good interviewer. And that's all I literally need is just for you to hear me out. Ask me whatever questions, and I'm going to knock the ball out the park. And so once I got the email for I was going to be interviewed, I was like, okay, well, that's really all I need. All I really needed was for y'all to hear me out, and I can do the rest. If I don't get the job, I don't get the job. So I ended up working there, staying there for 6 years, did very well, got out of there. And now I'm back in the job search, and it's like, well, it was hard for me back then to get a job. I didn't have any experience. Now I'm well experienced. I worked on some of the biggest brands in the world. And I'm not even saying that to my own horn. Literally worked on some of the biggest brands in the world. I'm like, well, it should be easy for me to, you know, get a job now. Over the winter, I spoke about it. Over the winter, going into January, February, I was interviewing with what I thought was my dream company. And granted, this was the second time that I interviewed with them. The first time I interviewed with them, it wasn't directly with them. It was a company that was like handling a lot of their media. This time it was directly with them. Went through 5 interviews, didn't end up getting a job. However, after they did tell me I didn't get the job, they were like, well, we may have another position that's opening up. If you want to consider that, whatever the case may be. I kind of thought about it and didn't end up going through with it. But I was like, okay, well, I didn't end up getting that job. Let me continue to move forward. And around this time, the plans were already in motion of moving and things like that. So I was like, well, now I got to start finding and looking for jobs in the next place that I moved to. And started applying and looking for a job in the next place I moved to, and wasn't going through like 2 or 3 months of like not getting callbacks, getting a lot of denials. And I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? Like, why aren't I getting interviews when I got this decorated resume to where everybody asking for experience, everybody asking for this and so on and so forth? What is it that I need to do? And literally, I had to, and I'll be completely honest, completely transparent, because I'm always transparent on this podcast. I just started harassing people, not harassing people, and harassing is not the correct word. But what I started doing, especially because I was applying for jobs on LinkedIn, I started to look for people that were in human resources or in talent acquisition within the sort of companies I were applying for. And I started, after I apply for a job, I reach out to those people. Majority of the time, those people are not going to reply to you, but sometimes you may have people that's going to respond. And a lot of interviews that I've gotten since then have been the people that have like seen my messages and like, okay, we consider whatever the case may be. But I say all that to say that like, that's what I'm currently going through. So much so that like I was going to record this episode 2-3 weeks ago. And I was like, okay, well, if I recorded, this much earlier, at least by the time I release it, I should probably finally have landed a job. Newsflash, I have not landed a job. I'm still currently searching for a job. And that's not for needing any pity or anything like that, but that's just a goes to show just how extensive the search has been for me, looking for just the right fit, to the point to where it's just like, all right, like something's got to give at this point. Like I've interviewed well, I've getting great feedback on my interviews, but somehow I'm still not getting the job. I speak about all this to say that like we have to continue to stress the importance of networking on our youth, because don't let them end up in situations like I've been in the past. Had I had been networking during my undergrad, had I been networking just in life in general, I don't think that my career search in the beginning would have been as depressive as it was. But because I didn't know anybody, it was just like I was essentially, if you don't know anybody in the company you're applying for, you're essentially filling out blank applications. I'll be completely 100% transparent with you all. Like I've gotten interviews and gotten people that reached out to me for certain positions because they've come across my profile on LinkedIn, whatever the case may be. But for the jobs that you actually want, for the jobs that you're actually searching for, the chances of you seeing a job that you like, having all the qualifications that they want, and applying for that and getting interviews and getting that job is very slim because those HR people have already started to source out, who is interested in it based off of recommendations they got, based off of recommendations they got internally, based off of recommendations they got personally, and things like that. And you're fighting up against those people. So after you factor out all those people, that's probably a field of like 20 to 30 people that's already been considered just based off of recommendations alone. So you're fighting against them. And so what we had to teach our youth is like, while they're going through school, and I say this a lot to like my younger relatives, to my younger siblings, like, network, 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 because once you graduate and you're looking for those opportunities, you're going to be in a position to where it's going to be slim pickings because the people you graduated with, they may have mom and dad who may be owners of Fortune 500 companies or maybe working in Fortune 500 companies. You may have uncles who may know somebody. You may have cousins who know somebody. And those people are being recommended for those entry-level jobs. And you're fighting up against those people who are being recommended by people who have people in place at these companies or have relationships in place at these companies that have extended over years. So of course they're going to consider them first versus this person who was just a name on the sheet. And we come from backgrounds, we come from areas, people, black and brown people who come from neighborhoods like the neighborhood I come from, to where we don't trust outsiders too much. And that is what cautioned me from, and still to this day, I'm well into my career now. We don't trust outsiders much, and that's what cautions us from networking and speaking to those people and things like that. But we have to be more open to that in order to grow in these career fields. Like, it's a non-negotiable at this point. We have to be meeting people. We have to shake these hands. We have to know people, have people remember our names, remember our faces, so that when it comes time to apply, we can say, hey, I've seen opening at your company. I'm very interested in that. Is, there a chance you can put in a word for me and wherever the case may be? And then be like, oh yeah, not a problem. Like, use this to our advantage because the field, the people who we're competing against, they got those people in their back pockets. And while we grow up in environments where like we don't trust, especially people that don't look like us, we are hesitant with doing so. But we have to get rid of that just for the sake of just our career advancements, because if we don't do it, we're going to be asked out. And so as I get out of here, the same way that I've seen, Kendrick Lamar transcend from this unknown artist to this well-known artist, the same way that I want to see my family members, my relatives, my friends transcend from this college graduate. And I don't even want to stress the importance of just college, because there are trade school and things out there as well. But the same way I want to see us transcend from this person who was unknown, well-known, to now you got your foot in the door, to now you're in this company, to where now you're making a name for yourself in your respective careers. Like, we have to help aid our youth on these journeys, because it's only getting worse and worse, and the economy is getting worse. So that's even making it worse. We're seeing all these massive layoffs across these big companies. And so it's a very fickle economy right now in terms of the job search. And if we're not preparing them for this, they are entering this world, entering these potential careers with nothing. They're fighting against people who already got a leg up against them. They're fighting against people who already got the advantage with them. So we have to help them in their journeys, to help them in their growth, and help them in their careers, to where they're entering these spaces to where they're well prepared. And they're never going to be 100% prepared, but let's at least equip them with the knowledge of, like, you have to meet these people. You have to shake these hands. You should, do these things to ensure that you're starting off on the right foot. And that's very important. That's really all I have for you all this week. As we get out of here from my what to watch for this week, we're gonna keep it on the West Coast. My what to watch for this week is Forever on Netflix. Once again, my what to watch for this week is Forever on Netflix. If you have not caught the Gen X tour and it's coming to your city, I highly recommend catching it. I'm honestly contemplating catching one of those shows in Toronto. I know he got 2 shows in Toronto. Just for the plot, I'm really contemplating going to one of those GNX tours to Toronto just to see what their environment is going to be like. I feel like it's going to be very live, and I think it's going to be very ironic that he's selling out 2 nights in Toronto, a stadium in Toronto on top of that. So shout out to Kendrick, shout out to SZA. My what to watch for this week again is Forever on Netflix. That's the Speak My Peace podcast for this week. I'm out.